Hey, this is Lorenzo Sellers, and you're on episode 2 of Breakthrough Radio. No user's manual was given to us at birth, showing us how life works, even though it definitely would have been convenient for us. There was no how-to guide to accomplishing a fulfilled lifestyle. In a sense, we're all children in the dark bumping into the walls during our journey in life. Every day we attempt to figure out what our purpose here on earth is. Why were we born? Most of us have already accepted the possibility that maybe we serve no purpose at all. Therefore, we should accept whatever life throws our way. To be honest, at one point I came to that very same conclusion myself. I had accepted what other people believed. You could bet your bottom dollar that I also received a lifestyle that most people had as well. It was okay for a while until I met the mentor who changed my entire perspective on life. Everything that she did made me doubt my current beliefs and challenge my previous conclusions. It was a real eye-opener for me. That was the turning point for me. Now I'm a best-selling author, I run a successful coaching practice, and I live the life most people can only dream of. I had to question myself for how I got to this point, so I began to study and do research on what created the results we experience in life. Why do some people become successful while others struggle with life? Why do some people move with purpose while others had a hard time figuring it all out? While in Dallas, attending a business convention, I noticed something about the homes in the neighborhood that I was passing through. They were all huge. I'm not exaggerating either. These people chose to live a certain type of lifestyle that appealed to me in a very big way and gave me several ideas. It was then I realized what they meant when they said everything comes big in Texas, because they live life in a very big way. We have what it takes to accomplish all of our dreams. There is a power that pushes us forward when everyone is trying to push us back. There is a driving force that brings fulfillment to our endeavors whenever we discover it and work toward it. However, we hold ourselves back from accessing this power. We tend to waste time on things that won't bring us any closer to fulfilling our purpose and ourselves simply because we became distracted by the paycheck. We become dependent on others to guide us in the direction that they believed we should go. The next thing we know, money has become our master in almost every aspect of our lives, and we find ourselves living a life based off of the standard of others. We find ourselves doing odd jobs in the early hours of the morning because we must keep the lights on. We find ourselves working to help someone else fulfill their purpose because we are too afraid of fulfilling our own. We find ourselves basing success of a committed relationship off of money. We find ourselves living an unfulfilled life. We do all of this for almost half our lives before realizing that we truly never lived. We found purpose in using our time to maximize the time of someone else who made a decision to build and expand their dream. Without working on our dream, we discover that by foregoing our dreams, stress takes the place of our true purpose. With this massive amount of stress in our lives, we strain our relationships with others, get into pointless arguments, and waste our precious time worrying about things that won't ever happen. I was reminded of this when one of my great aunts passed away. It was one of the realest wake-up calls I ever had. Life is too short to live out someone else's vision when death could be right around the corner. Our time here is very limited. And it was then I realized that we indulge in activities that isn't suitable to our actual cause. I'm going to give you an example. What's the point of arguing the truth? The truth is the truth, and that won't change no matter if other people don't agree. The same goes for us as well. Why strain relationships by making them more difficult than it should be? Why waste our time worrying about things when we have decision power? By not living big and by not living our true nature, we choose to live small. By living small, we choose to think small. By thinking small, we ourselves become too small in spirit to live out big dreams. There just isn't enough time in the world to waste on this type of lifestyle. We ultimately don't think about the things we did and said in life as we reach the end, but the things we didn't do or say. Will you live life full and die empty, or will you live empty and die full with all your dreams untouched? I realize that people will also talk themselves out of doing what they love to please others. I'm guilty of doing this myself. Why do we destroy our chances of living big just to please those who choose to live small? I figured out that the driving force behind this way of thinking is usually fear. Now is the time to act. I don't care where you've been or how you got to where you are now. If you have not been living big, now is the time to start. As we get older, we see more people we care about take that journey to the other side. Let me ask you a question. Did you say everything that you need to say to them? Did they really know how much you love them? This is the purpose of Breakthrough Radio. We are going to take a good hard look at your life, my life, everyone's lives, and see what parts of our life we are not living up to. We all have them. I'm guilty of it myself. Did you take advantage of opportunities that will help you move closer to accomplishing your dreams without hurting others? Life is too short to let the shoulda, woulda, couldas pile up on your mental plate. I once asked myself who might be the people with the greatest clarity about the sum total of life. I realized that it was those who were nearing the end of theirs. So after hours of extensive research, I found what I was looking for. It was in the form of a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and it was written by Bronnie Ware. In this book, she questioned the dying about any regrets they had or anything they would have done differently. What she found was astonishing. She discovered that they all had these 5 common regrets. I wish I let myself be happier. They realized that happiness is a choice. Or I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Too often shut mouths and shuttered feelings weigh too heavy to handle. I wish I stayed in touch with my friends. Too often they failed to give them the time and effort they deserved. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Too much time being spent making a living rather than building a life caused too much remorse. I found the last one to be a really tough one, and it happened to be the most common regret. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The number one regret expressed by the dying is living a life of half-filled dreams and unfulfilled hopes. Living big is more than just an idea or a theory. It's a way of living that few do and one that I personally practice every day. You will learn that you don't need the biggest house on the street to be happy. You don't need the flashiest car for approval of society. Although I'm pretty sure most of you already knew that. What we'll be using is the power of purpose to drive your life from now on and to live big. If you don't know what your purpose is yet, that's fine. You'll figure that out later on. And I'm going to show you how you can discover it. If you are worried that your purpose may not bring in enough income to support you, don't worry about it. Money usually comes to those who live within their bliss. I've experienced it and seen too many other people accomplish it for it not to be true. The truth of the matter is that you can do anything you want to do. But to do that, you must choose to live by purpose. In this episode, we're going to dive into one of the 5 systems that I wrote about in my book, Making It Happen. And it's going to show you how you can grow in that area and how you can use the power of purpose to have it now. There are few systems of the human mind that determines the flow of our lives. And if you really think about it, it's in the shape of a bullseye. And the habit system is the outermost, which I'm about to explain to you. You see, you must operate from within before you see any outside results. This is the way that we unconsciously live our lives from day to day. To live without, we must first learn to live from within. I discovered that once I knew what to do and once I figured out what to change on the inside. And you will learn how to change the structure of your entire life if you do that. The lesson within this episode can be used on anything you set your heart to and help you get extraordinary results. If you happen to be in network marketing and one of the many who may be struggling to grow your business, this episode may help you get to the bottom of your growth stunt and to place you on the right track to building a massive organization. If you are one of the ones who reached the pinnacle of success and found yourself still unhappy, we'll figure it out together. And you know what? It'll help you discover what you can do to find fulfillment in your life. I figured that this concept is versatile and can be used in every aspect of your life. Listen, by learning how to invoke the power of purpose, You can increase everything in your spiritual life, finances, business, career, physical health, personal life, and most important, within all your relationships. I ask that you not only listen within this episode, but practice it as soon as we're done. Within all my seminars and workshops and one on one coaching sessions, I always tell people to practice what I preach, just as I do the same. Knowing how to do something great, but if you aren't acting on it, it becomes useless trivia. It was like just what Tony Robbins once quoted: if you let your learning lead to knowledge, then you're a fool. If you let your learning lead to action, you'll be successful. That doesn't just apply in money matters either. This applies to every aspect of your life. It could truly change how you live your life from this point on. So, ladies and gentlemen, the power of purpose helped me to see that life should be lived in the biggest way possible. And by giving my life and by living my life that way, I've seen nothing but great and enjoyable results from it. I'm not making any guarantees that this will help you. The only thing I can say is that if you actively practice what I'm about to teach you today, you'll see results. It's up to you if you like the results or not. So let's get started on today's lesson. Today we're diving into how you can change your habit system. And in this chapter, in this talk today, you're going to learn exactly what you need to do to get results immediately. From this point on, the only way to really get this life-changing concept underway is to do things that will impact and show an instant impact right away. As I mentioned before, there are 5 systems that ultimately control the type of results you get in life. They are your habit, experience, attitude, value, and belief system. And each system that connects to each other, one influences the next. And like I said, we'll start off with the habit system. Your habit system is the outermost level of the human mind. We need to change the routine that your habits have created first so you can see change immediately, which means that we need to first alter your habits. Your habits determine the type of results you get. By continuing with your current habits, you'll see more of the same. If you keep on doing what you're doing, you'll keep on getting what you're currently getting. If you give more, you'll receive more. If you do less, then you'll receive less. I'm a firm believer in the law of equal exchange, and there's nowhere else that fact falls true than in your habits, or in this case, your daily routine. We all fall victim to the routine as we live our lives every day, especially when we have demanding jobs that require us to do the same old routine every day. It starts off new enough when you are at the beginning, but after a while of doing the same thing over and over again, it becomes a habit, which creates a routine, which then creates the results you see. Depending on what you want out of life, you must ask yourself the question: Is this the way of life I want to live for the rest of my life? It's a challenging question and a routine breaker. Many people believe that you can live one way to get a result that requires a different way of living. For example, there are some people who want to be financially free who has a habit of spending more than they earn on a daily basis and accumulating bad debt. Or someone who wants time freedom to spend more time with family and friends who has a daily routine of picking up more shifts at 1 or 2 jobs. Do you see what I mean? If you keep finding yourself in bad situations, there is a habit that you have created that is keeping you there. Breaking out of your daily routines can be a powerful way to unlock great and new life-changing experiences. At this point, we must break your routine to start fresh. I want to help give you a new perspective behind the truth of how you will have it all now and still live a wealthy lifestyle. This isn't something you could just incorporate into your current routine. I want you to remember these 3 words when you want to create a new set of habits: notice, create, and discover. You must first notice that your current actions aren't producing the results you want to create a new set of habits, and then discover what results your new routine produces. I know that was a mouthful, but I can assure you that by starting this new process of thinking, you will begin to build a life that you find worthy of living. This has helped Miles Davis, Bebop King, to create one of the greatest jazz albums of all time, especially in 1959, when he created his album Kinda Blue. While most jazz players of his era were playing a fast-tempo bebop, Davis wanted to take a new approach to jazz. His goal was getting himself and his band to break out of the bebop routine. The result is one of the highest grossing jazz albums in history. Everything on this recording was a first take. Those musicians were exploring this for the first time. They could not rely on old routines and habits. They were noticing, creating, and discovering all simultaneously. Noticing, creating, and discovering. Each of these skills is critical, not just in making great jazz, but just in developing breakthrough ideas and being a strong leader. Operating off book is often easier said than done, though. In our world of synchronized calendars and countless scheduling tools, breaking from standard routine can seem like a kind of a sacrilege. Indeed, maintaining a routine keeps us from getting sucked into a vortex of YouTube videos and social media that can easily throw your productivity out of whack. In some cases, and it may be yours, this is that routine. But on the other end of that spectrum, couldn't too much routine inhibit positive habit changes and stifle creativity? Let's check out some ways to avoid stagnation by shaking up your personal and work routines. Learn to give up control. If you deviate from your routine, it's hard not to feel like you lost control of the day. Yet, when it's done with intention and self awareness, breaking from regular routines can be a powerful way to stimulate new thinking. Break bad habits and adapt better to change, and be more collaborative in a team environment. By giving up control of how you always do things, you can create space for new ideas and a more receptive outlook. You can make more mistakes. Embracing failure has become the zeitgeist of startup culture. If you aren't taking risks, chances are you're not doing anything exciting. As Miles Davis famously said, if you're not making a mistake, it's a mistake. That means reframing your thinking so that deviating from routine isn't considered falling off the wagon so much as to taking the wagon down a different path. You need to be experimenting, exploring, and trying new things all the time. Success time after time is a sign of a red flag. There's a certain point at which in life of a team or the life of a person, there's not much that can be learned by more success. There's a point at which your real learning and your real transformation to begin living big as a person or as a team happens after an unexpected mistake. You can also seek out the unfamiliar. Our brains tend to take shortcuts by gravitating toward what's familiar. Most of the time, our routines are so ingrained that we don't even think before acting. Nearly half of our daily routines typically happen in the same time and place, according to the research from the University of Southern California's Department of Psychology. Researchers suggest that the best way to break from routine and seek out new ideas is to literally put yourself in unfamiliar places and situations. Such novel experiences help unleash your imagination by forcing the mind out of its tendency to rely on categories and shortcuts, according to neuroscientist Gregory Burns. Only when you consistently confront your brain's reliance on categories will you be able to imagine outside of its boundaries. He once wrote in his book, Iconicus. You can also break routines to break bad habits. Even if we don't plan for them, bad habits can be just as ingrained in our routines as good ones. You must never hold those in home business meetings, when you after you get home from work. I mean, you might not never hold those meetings when you get home from work because it's not part of your daily routine. Your daily routine involves opening the mail on the couch, which leads to putting your feet up, which then leads to watching 2 hours of television. And while you're doing that, you're foregoing the fact that you could be setting your house up for invited guests to come over and watch a product presentation with you and your team. This isn't an endorsement to toss your schedule altogether, but rather a call to notice if and how your regular routine might be reinforcing negative habits. Charles Duhigg writes in The Power of Habit, unless you deliberately fight a habit, unless you find new routines, the pattern will unfold automatically. You can give yourself a fresh start. According to research from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, taking a fresh start can have a powerful psychological effect that leads to positive habitual change. This fresh start effect suggests that creating shifts in your routine can lead to a sense of starting anew, which helps to reinforce positive changes. For example, researchers found that people who wanted to lose weight were more motivated to shift their habits and routines when they perceived to be making a fresh start at the beginning of the year, season, month, or even week. And according to Google's search data, that revealed an uptick in how often the word diet was searched and gym attendance typically increased. Embrace an improvisational mindset. Improv comedians like jazz musicians are often masters at this idea of breaking from routine and taking a novel approach. They embrace the yes and rule, rolling with what comes at them rather than refuting it. The key here, of course, is a willingness to go out on a limb, make yourself feel uncomfortable, and fall flat on your face. This is the improvisational mindset. Although problem solving is necessary, it's just not sufficient alone. If you're just in a problem solving mindset, your imagination is going to be shrunk. The interpretive possibilities of action would be smaller, and you have to create the mindset that says yes to the possibilities that something new, interesting, and creative can emerge. I mean, certainly routine has its benefits when used properly to add progress to your business and or your career. It keeps us all on track. But take the time to drop your routine and embrace the unfamiliar by doing new things. The mistakes along the way just may lead you to your best work yet. This isn't just for those who wish to grow their network marketing business. This is the key to beginning a change that could create a new reality for you. Now I'm going to teach you how breaking your habits can and breaking routine can help you in your relationships. Have you ever driven to work only to arrive and remember little, if anything, about the details of how you got there? That is one of the ways routine shows up in our lives. We put things on autopilot and let our subconscious do the driving for us. This is also closely related to the destination of most routine activities. Routine equals your comfort zone. This is one of our ways of not having to be particularly conscious or present to every single thing we do. It can make some things more efficient, but almost by definition, it also means we are not fully present or available to new possibilities. And that therein lies the problem of allowing relationships to fall into routine. It has been my personal experience that relationship routine left unchanged can lead to the slow death of even the greatest relationships. Fortunately, there is a way out of this relationship rut and ways to keep out of it. Routine can lead to being absent. Let's start with the premise that anytime you do or participate in something routine, it also means that you're not fully present, and in the case of many, consciously present. If we accept that idea, then it's fairly easy to see how couples allow aspects of their relationship to become routine, which quite often happens in the bedroom. That outcome right there is the primary reason why routine can kill relationships. For any relationship to thrive, it requires both parties being fully present for each other, at least part of the time. Most importantly, during physical intimacy, sex without presence is not in true intimacy and won't create that connection needed to heighten the intensity of it. It may be great for getting off, but does nothing to deepen or strengthen the relationship. I'm not a relationship consultant, but I do know from experience the danger of routine. Now, there are 3 steps to breaking a relationship routine. You know how your car has warning lights indicating something is wrong or about to go wrong, right? Well, relationships have them too. They're just more subtle. If you don't remember the last time you both did something really different and fun, that, my friends, is a relationship warning light indicating that you started to slip into the rut of the dreaded routine. If you and your significant other have fallen into the routines that are beginning to dull the spark you once had, here are 3 steps you can take to immediately break free from it. Step 1, acknowledge it. This means both parties being willing to authentically and vulnerably communicate what each other sees as disconnecting and boring routines that have taken over the relationship. This particularly includes aspects of your physical intimacy. It's critical to first get out in the open what each sees as routines that are stultifying the relationship. Step 2, be willing to get out of your comfort zone. As mentioned earlier, the primary reason we fall into routine is that it feels comfortable and non threatening. This means that if you truly want to break free of your routines, each of you must be willing to go outside of your comfort zone to allow possibilities to present themselves that neither you or your significant other expected to exist. And step 3, be adventurous. Consider things neither of you have done before, but might be interesting to both. It's in the spirit of adventure and seeing what shows up. It's usually an incredible amount of fun and often insightful. This will lead to discovering new things about people, the world, and of course each other. The only sure way to ensure that your relationship leads this way is to be open to that possibility. I went over breaking routine for relationships simply to show you how you can use the NCD principle, the Notice, Career, Discover, to break routine in virtually any area of your life. The goal here is to see results immediately. I believe when a man sees progress within the process early, it's easier to stick it out to the plan. Now, here's the thing. It won't take you 2 or 3 days to completely change your habits. It's been studied that it takes the average time to change one's habit probably 2 months, which isn't bad to begin with. And as you're on this 2-month habitual change, you'll be undertaking a journey that will completely change your entire life. The rewards behind creating a new set of habits can be quite astronomical and can help you reach your dreams quickly, or destructive if you choose to use a set of habits that can only take you away from your life. By now, you should realize the importance of setting the right set of habits that will provide the results you want. I'm about to give you 2 sets of questions in 2 different areas in your life that you can ask yourself to give you a clear idea of what direction you want to take in each of these areas. This is just to give you an idea of how you can create a new set of habits that will produce almost immediate results. Despite popular belief, you do have control over the flow of your life and the outcome of it. Once you answer these questions, your questions that you created in the areas that mean more to you, apply the plan and stick to it for 2 months. This will mean that every day you should be implementing your new set of habits. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. But it will only be as easy as the type of attitude that you have going into it. The first area of life that we're going to set up these questions for is your income. First question you can ask yourself is, am I happy with my current career business? And is it giving me more time to spend with my family and friends? The second question, what can I do to raise the level of income I'm currently getting that will increase my discretionary time? Question number 3, how soon can I implement my ideas? Question number 4, what are 5 daily steps you can take from my ideas? What are 5 daily steps I can take from my ideas that will get me closer to my goal? Now, the second area of life that we're going to set these questions up for is relationships. Are me and my significant other happy with the current course of our relationship? That was question 1. Question 2, what can I do to add more excitement and fun back into the relationship? Question 3, when is a good time to implement these new ideas? As you'll notice, in both areas, that third question is always, when is a good time to implement these new ideas? Or when should I implement these new ideas? It's completely up to you what you choose. Question number 4, what are 5 daily steps I could take from my ideas that would keep me committed to improving our relationship? Ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for how you can get started on changing your habits, and that could really lead you to immediately seeing results coming from your efforts. I want to thank you for listening today, and I just want to tell you that I am completely grateful for the people who come and listen, and for the people who are on their way. They just haven't listened yet. But I just want you to remember this, and we're going to end it off with this one quote. If you continue to do what you're currently doing, you'll always get what you're currently getting. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Lorenzo on Breakthrough Radio. Thank you for listening.